Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Ari Brody, co-founder and CEO of Estateably. In this first segment, I'm going to walk through what our back-to-school benchmarking study confirmed about modern estate and trust workflows and how that lines up with what we're building at Estateably. First off, we're not here to read charts. We're here to talk about moving forward with you into 2026 around three things: what's really slowing firms down, where Estateably already helps, and where workflows need to go next. As you're watching, keep two questions in mind. One, where do we see ourselves in this? And two, where would a bit less manual work make our lives noticeably easier? In the next segment, my fellow co-founder and COO, Alex Wolkin, will pick things up inside the Estateably platform and show how these themes show up in Estateably day to day. We ran this study because we wanted a clear, data-backed view of what you already feel every day. Most firms told us that files take a long time to move from open to closed, that accounting and reconciliation eat a surprising amount of time every month, and that a lot of work is still happening in spreadsheets and manual processes. We also saw that many firms either haven't yet implemented specialized fiduciary software, or if they have, aren't really measuring ROI from it. So in this segment, I'll focus on connecting that reality to some concrete questions. For example, where is time actually going inside the file? How should we think about capacity and ROI? And what needs to change in workflows between now and 2026? Alex will then connect those answers directly to specific workflows and features inside Estateably in his segment. When we look at the day-to-day, a few things really stand out. First, timelines are long and often stretched by courts, third parties, and asset discovery or valuation. That's the environment you're working in. Inside the firm, a lot of time is spent on accounting tasks, bank reconciliations, beneficiary distribution calculations, and final reporting. Those consistently show up as the biggest time sinks. On top of that, much of this work is still manual, data keyed in from PDFs and statements into spreadsheets, then rekeyed into reports. And from the beneficiary perspective, the main questions are simple. When will I get my distributions? And where are we at in the process? Most firms answer those via one-off emails or only when someone asks. That's the landscape the study confirmed, and it maps closely to what we've been hearing from our customers for years. If you're curious about the full set of findings, there's a link on this page where you can download the complete back-to-school study report. Keep in mind, we're just hitting the highlights here. The report goes deeper into timelines, accounting workloads, beneficiary expectations, and technology adoption, so you can benchmark your firm against what we're seeing across the industry. In Alex's segment, you'll see how this translates into concrete workflows inside the platform. But before we get there, let's talk about how to measure the impact of any changes you make. To make any of this meaningful, you'll have to be able to measure it. At a high level, the metrics we care about and encourage firms to watch are pretty simple. Time per file, especially time spent on accounting and reconciliation. How often work has to be redone because of errors or process gaps? What percentage of key steps are still manual? And finally, whether the features that save time are actually being used across the team. We like the rail network analogy. Every bit of track you lay down, every piece of automation you put in place lets the same team move more work forward with less effort. But that only shows up if you track the before and after of. How long does it take to close a file today? How many hours per month are you spending on the accounting side? And what happens to those numbers when you start using specific workflows or features inside Estateably? A lot of firms in the study either don't see measurable ROI yet or haven't looked closely. Part of our job, through onboarding, customer success, and education, is to help surface those numbers so you can see whether the tools are actually giving you capacity back. The study also gave us a clear set of priorities for where workflows need to go. Firms want tighter internal processes to offset the external delays they can't control, less manual work in bank reconciliations, distributions, and asset valuation, and more predictable, structured communication with beneficiaries. At the same time, the main blockers to new technology are very practical: training time, implementation cost, and integration with existing systems. So our focus going into 2026 is simple. Keep shipping things that directly target those high impact areas and make those changes realistic to adopt. Small, contained improvements that produce visible wins. Think of it as a series of upgrades rather than a full system replacement. That's the context for the feature we'll be highlighting, our investment statement import. It's designed to reduce exactly the kind of manual, statement heavy work that showed up again and again in the study. We're opening beta access in January for this feature, so sign up now and you can use it in the new year for free until June 30th. In the next recording, Alex will take you into Estateably to show how the platform already aligns with this data today, what those workflows will look like in practice, and lastly, how the investment statement import feature can help you reclaim time on investment heavy files. With that, let's hand it over to Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex Wilkins, COO and co-founder of Estateably. In Ari's segment, you saw what our back-to-school study confirmed about modern estate and trust workflows. The long timelines, the manual accounting burden, and the pressure from beneficiaries for clearer answers. In this segment, I'm going to connect that picture to what Estateably does today and walk you through our new investment statement import feature and how you can get involved in the beta. Let's start with how Estateably already fits into that landscape. On the accounting and reporting side, our goal is to move you away from ad hoc spreadsheets and into structured workflows with standardized, instant outputs designed specifically to lighten the load around reconciliations and final reports. For reconciliations and distributions, we've built flows that make it easier to keep transactions, allocations, payouts organized and consistent, so you're not rebuilding the logic every single time something changes. I'll show you 3 quick videos: the accounting workspace and all the reporting that we can do, the task status and all of the views on how you can manage what's coming up and any deadlines, and then beneficiary distributions. So now I'm in an example Estateably estate file over in the accounting section. And instead of tracking transactions in a separate spreadsheet, this is where all of our estate activity lives. Income, expenses, transfers, distributions, and everything tied to that file. Every transaction entered has been imported or entered manually and stays connected to that estate record, inventory items, distributions, and anything that might come up throughout that file's lifecycle. Now, if I jump over into the reporting section, what I'll be able to see are a list of pre-built accounting reports that are ready for you to generate with this same data. When I open any of these reports to generate, I'm not rebuilding an Excel report or copy pasting anything from a statement. All you're doing is pulling in the transactions and we generate that report instantly. Now, if any transactions come in after that report is generated or edits need to be made, all you need to do is do that directly in Estateably and no need to duplicate spreadsheets, chase down versions. Everything's in one place and you never need to redo the math. This is the kind of foundation that we mean when we're talking about moving accounting out of scattered spreadsheets and into structured workflows. So now I've navigated over into our task section. Now this is where we're going to track any of the deadlines or milestones tied to an estate. This is going to come pre-built on any estate file that you open, and you can easily manage a task status from incomplete to in progress to complete or even not applicable, and set deadlines so you always know what's coming next. Now, anyone on the team can open this and immediately answer where are we at, what's left to do, and what deadlines are coming up. If a beneficiary or a referring advisor calls in, anybody can answer the phone. You don't have to dig through files, emails to see what's going on in a file, and they can see everything in one place. Having file statuses, notes, distributions, all tracked in one place makes it so much easier to answer where are we at without a scavenger hunt through any inboxes. Next, contact management and distributions showed up as one of the most painful areas of ongoing estate and trust administration. So I'm now in our contact section where we can go and jump into one of the beneficiaries that we've set up in the file. Now, in addition to any of the general information about the beneficiary, we can also set allocations and set the type of family members that they are, but also add any specific bequests onto this beneficiary, which is going to help us track it later on in the process where we're understanding how much is left to distribute, what a different beneficiary may be entitled to, and take away all of the guesswork from distribution management. Now, if I go into our accounting section under assets, if we had a specific collectible that was a bequest to one of the beneficiaries, we already have that logic here and built in, so there's no guesswork left in the process. Finally, if I go into our distribution section, we can very easily see what distributions have been made to date, look at what proposed distributions have been set up in the will, and also very easily make those distributions in this section so that I can go through here, select if it's real estate, any of the assets, or just distributing cash to beneficiaries with transaction names, bequests, and anything that you need to track for your internal reporting. And this is exactly the kind of work that's so easy to get wrong when it lives in formulas or emails on someone's desktop. Here we're trying to make it repeatable, transparent, and so much less fragile. When it comes to automation, our focus has been on those high frequency steps like document generation, accounting and reporting flows, reconciliations, distributions, and increasingly data import. One of the pain points that came through clearly both in the study and in our customer conversations is investment-heavy files. The usual pattern looks something like this. You receive statements from one institution, someone copies that data into spreadsheets, cleans it up, reformats it, then it gets manually moved into your accounting or reporting workflows, and then if anything changes, you have to redo all that work, let alone starting that process over the next month. Our new investment statement import tool is designed to cut down that manual loop and add in intelligent automation into your process. So now I've navigated over and into our estate accounting section, and I'm excited to share with you all our new statement import feature. We're really excited to launch this feature. It's really designed to eliminate a lot of the manual work around investment statements. So what I'll do now is go ahead and upload a investment statement that I have here, my Edward Jones statement from 2024. And in just a couple seconds, we're going to start the upload of this document into Estateably. Now I'm going to jump into one of those previous versions that I have right here, and I can start our review on this document right now. So all I need to do is select the account that it corresponds to, enter in the date and the end date for this form. It's, I believe, the 26th. And I can go and click next. And right away, we have all of the holdings from that statement that pop up and have been extracted automatically with quantities, market prices, market values. Of course, you can go in and do any edits that you need. You can also see every transaction that corresponds to one of those holdings. So we automatically pull in the date, the description, the category, the holding, the money type, the quantity, the amount, again with everything being able to be edited. And in seconds, you can go ahead, validate these transactions, and they will now all show up under transactions in your estate account. This is really getting at the core of what we're trying to build at Estateably, which is the easiest to use but innovative features that are going to help power your practice. We're excited to announce that we're opening an investment statement import beta in January. Your firm's a good fit for this beta if you work on matters with significant investment holdings and your team feels the constant drag of getting statement data into a usable format and keeping it in sync. If you join this beta, you're going to get free access to the statement import until June 30th of 2026 with guided onboarding, training, and support from the Estateably team. If what we've talked about across both segments sounds familiar, with long matters, lots of manual accounting, beneficiaries looking for clarity, we'd love to keep the conversation going. If you want access, you can use the link on this page to register for the beta, reach out to our customer success team, or subscribe to stay in the loop as we roll out more of these focused improvements. One final thing before we wrap up. If you haven't already, I'd really encourage you to download the full Back to School study report using the link on this page. It's a useful piece to show your team what firms across the industry are experiencing and how you sit in comparison.
On behalf of Ari, myself, and the entire Estateably team, thank you for spending this time with us. We hope that you see your own experience reflected in the data, and you see how we're doing work at Estateably to make that experience so much better. We're excited to build the next phase of these workflows with you. Thank you so much.